you love.
Feel good vibes and great music. This is Radio 44.
Today we have a very special guest in the studio. Joining us is Darshan Chandaria, the dynamic and influential figure in the Kenyan business landscape. Darshan is the Group CEO and Director at Chandaria Industries. Welcome to Radio 44 and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
All right, Darshan, it's all about leadership legends, and Lord knows you've made a good name for yourself out there. So let's go straight into it. We know you as the CEO of Chandaria Industries. How did you get here?
It's a great question. At a young age, I think I've had to assume a lot of responsibility.
Okay.
I did my schooling in Kenya, went off to university in the UK, to Cardiff Business School. So I was at Kenton for primary school, Hillcrest for secondary school, and then went to Cardiff University in Wales in the UK for university. And then I went to Harvard in 2017.
Okay.
I did an executive leadership course. I joined the business in 2009. I have worked my way up from the very bottom. I didn't really appreciate that when my dad actually put me at the very bottom of the organization at the beginning.
Wow.
But now I understand the merits of it, and I wouldn't do it differently at all for my kids.
Excellent.
Speaking of, because a lot of people assume when it's a family-run business that you just got to the top directly. You didn't work your way up. So tell us a little bit more about what did that entail? What sort of jobs were you doing to get to where you are now?
So the first year, I remember this very clearly, I'll never forget this, from March 2009 to March 2010, I spent my time at customers' places all over the country.
Okay.
In dusty, hot environments, stacking shelves with products. Often there wasn't even anything to eat nearby. I mean, we were in such remote places. And at that point, I was thinking to myself, here I am with a degree, having left a management consulting job in London to come back to a family business to stack shelves in remote parts of Kenya, right? I mean, you can just imagine, right? But with that experience and the foundation I've had, I think, I've gotten to know the business and business fundamentals ground level up. And that's a really, really strong foundation. So I appreciate it now. I didn't for many years, I can tell you that. It wasn't until 2015 that I started assuming more senior managerial and executive roles. So the first few years of my life were just learning the business ground up. It started with sales, I went to production, went into supply chain, and then obviously later on I was able to realize what finance meant and which areas I really needed to spend my time on from the executive level.
Excellent. Now, Chandaria Industries has achieved a lot of success, over the years. Now, can you share some of the key milestones and achievements that you are most proud of?
Sure. So I joined the business in 2009. I would like to say that there's been quite a few along the way. I'll just try to keep it to a few of them that are very notable to me. In 2012, a professionalization journey started, which meant that a lot of the senior roles that family members assumed were actually handed down to professionals. And this was a very, very meaningful time for me because I think it also put me in the market, in the business, in competition with some of the best executives. And what that really meant was, not only for me, but for my brother as well, we actually had to up our game. There was no your family member, just come into the business every day, do this role, this is what you're entitled to. It was, in 2014, I applied to be the CEO internally, and I was rejected over an external professional, right? So
okay, yeah.
That's the level at which, there was professionalization going on. And I think onward from there, in 2015, when I did join the executive running of the business, we had external board members also who would look at our performance, look at our proposals and say, look, this is not viable, right? We need some more information. We were a regional business from as early as 1999 when we went into Tanzania. But I think that footprint from 2015 also increased tremendously. We're a significant player now in Uganda. We in other neighboring countries. We're playing a bigger role, exporting more, taking more of an interest. In 2020, we became only the second company in East African history to get the Superbrand status as a company.
Okay.
So that was very big. I think also through the years we've had a huge expansion into different categories of products. So away from tissue, the aluminium foil, cling film, cotton wool, Now we're a major player in liquids, so that's the hand washes,
Yes.
detergents, sanitizers, and the product ranges continue to expand. In 2020, we made a decision also to take on external brands. So today we're proud, partners of major brands like Colgate, Nivea, Nestle Waters, and we continue to become what I would say is a consumer products platform. That's our strategy.
Okay.
We were all about the washroom, we were all about the kitchen and personal hygiene, and our tagline is now going beyond the loo and the kitchen. So, we're expanding into different areas as well.
That's excellent. All right, we will be back shortly after this. If you have any questions for Darshan, feel free to send them in 0758 123 444.
The hits you love.
Feel good vibes and great music. This is Radio 44. Your music, your life.
Even the other stations are listening.
Why is it important to diversify?
It's a great question. I think as an entrepreneur, to start with, you see opportunities in so many areas. These opportunities can be, you go after them, right? And you see what's out there. So, I talked about Chandaria Industries and what we've done from a product perspective, going into so many other consumer products, becoming a consumer products platform, going into different regions. We are becoming a stronger regional player. But I think as a group as well, when we look at Chandaria Group, we've gone into real estate, we've gone into financial services, we've gone into venture capital investing, under the umbrellas of Chandaria Properties, Chandaria Ventures, and Chandaria Capital. And so I think what we have set, for ourselves as a strategy is not only from, let's say, from a Chandaria Industries perspective, when we say, okay, we're a tissue business, it's all about the washroom, it's all about the kitchen. We're expanding that to say, how can we touch and how can we be a part of consumers' daily lives with the other products and brands they consume. And I think from a business perspective overall, we've said, look, we find, that there's opportunities in other sectors, and how can we be a part of this? It's very important, especially when you have the macroeconomic shocks that we've witnessed in recent years, right through from COVID, right? When one business isn't doing as well, the other sort of compensates, and a group, as a group, you do well. And that's the same philosophy we have at Chandaria Industries. If one product category doesn't or isn't doing as well as it should, the other should compensate the overall performance of the business.
Now, as you shared, of course, there have been a lot of challenges. Now, can you share, which project was particularly most challenging for you? What situation did you overcome, and what lessons did you learn from it?
So I can tell you one of the most challenging was as soon as COVID-19 hit Kenya, we had all sorts of stakeholders. It wasn't just our customers, it wasn't our employees, it was even the government pushing us to say, okay, are you guys expanding your sanitizer, production? What are you doing to make sure our medical facilities or public facilities are going to have, sufficient stocks of this product? Hand wash. It was such a balancing act. We had to say, okay, how do we deal with all these stakeholders at the same time? I have never been so operationally involved in the business. Since 2014, as I was in 2020, as soon as COVID hit, that was major. And I think at that point, you really see how an organization and a team loyal to you comes together to basically do things you never thought they could. We had sales guys on the production floor, often pushing, making sure, literally picking up products, to take them to consumers as they were, or to our dispatch stores, or, directly to customers' trucks, even end consumers were coming straight to the factory, to buy product. It was chaotic. We had production guys who were trying to talk to consumers, just to, sort the situation out. But I think what we really learned from that was how important it is to build a loyal team.
Right.
A team that you can count on when, things that you never expected happen, right? Mind my French, but there's a saying, when shit hits the fan, right?
Very well understood. Yeah. All right. We will be back shortly after this. Of course, this is the Superbrands Leadership Legends right here on Radio 44. It is the Superbrands and Radio 44 Leadership Legends, and we do have CEO of Chandaria Industries, among others. You're heavily involved in a lot of businesses. We do have Darshan Chandaria right here on episode 1 of Leadership Legends.
So Darshan, as CEO, what leadership style have you adopted, and how do you motivate your team to achieve their goals?
So I've really taken on the view that initially you need to learn about everything you're doing ground level up. Okay, it's very important to understand the ins and outs of your business. Okay, thereafter, when you want to grow the business, when you want to expand, get into new products, new services, new territories, I think you have to build a very strong team around you. I learned very quickly that you can only do so much as a CEO, as a business owner, and the people around you will define and determine how successful your business is. Now, it is one thing to get the best qualified people with the right experience. What is most important from my perspective is the chemistry you have with your leadership team and everyone in the organization. Can you allow your COO, your CFO, your CTO, your chief commercial officer to go to a meeting and expect the same outcome as if you were there? Now that's called chemistry, that's called being on the same wavelength. And what I like to do is set a high level strategy, set the goals, and I really like to break down the goals. So for example, if we're talking about increasing sales, how are we increasing sales, through which brand, through which product category, in which territory? And then I like to let my team get on with it. We review regularly. There's a completely open door policy that we have as shareholders and directors at the business for any employee to come to us at any time to talk about anything. But I think what's very important is to set a direction as a leader, to be there to guide and mentor the journey, but to let people lead their own journey to get to the goal. When you start micromanaging, when you start interfering, when you start pointing out nitty-gritties, I find that has a negative impact on motivation. It has a negative impact on self-development. So what we are doing, and you'll continue to see this in our ventures and how also people will interact with those businesses, there will be less and less family involvement.
All right. Now, speaking of family, your father and brother are also involved in the business, right? Now, I believe this. Every member of the family, every member of a company, they're like a fingerprint. Their management style is entirely different. So when you have all these unique ideas and styles of management coming in together, how do you ensure the smooth running of the company, and how do you handle differences among you guys?
So the most important thing for a family business or any business, whether it's multinational, international, local, SME, is a governance structure. Okay, you must clearly lay out the roles and responsibilities of everybody in the organization. What we are very fortunate to have had is a very, very strong foundation that my dad created. Okay. He is a gentleman who has really understood the business inside out. He understands every element of it. Like you say, there's nothing you can fib him on. You cannot say that, okay, these numbers or this product or, this shift of manufacturing looks better than it was. He knows when something is not right, okay? And he knows the questions to ask. Now, what we've learned from that is exactly what I was talking about earlier, that you must know your business inside out. Onward from that, what have we done? We've effectively divided the running, and especially the executive running of the business, into multiple parts, okay? So today, my dad is our chairman. I'm the CEO, and my brother looks after the sales and marketing and business development. So he's a sales, marketing, and business development director. And we only intertwine when it is actually needed or when there's a major decision to be made. And yes, often you will find that we have a difference, but that difference never becomes personal because we have independent directors, we have independent people in the business, even our leadership team, right? All our C-level leadership team, they will step in to say, this is what we feel is right, this is what we feel is wrong, this is what we feel could work and couldn't work. And we've created an environment such that it never becomes personal. It's not like, okay, because I as the CEO said it should pass, right? Now, I think that takes a bit of self-maturity from everybody in the process, because I could easily get up tomorrow and say, look, this has to pass, right? I'm the CEO, I know what I'm doing. Now, that's where one has to take a step back and say, no, you're not always right. And I think we have all learned this, and we all have respect for that. And the only way you do it is by empowering people to do certain things that you think you should do all day. So the first point of realization is that there are people out there who can do it better.
Perfect.
Am I ever going to be able to sell as well as my brother? I don't think so. Am I ever going to be able to look at things with the view my father has? Never. Will I be able to do finance as well as my CFO? No. So that's the realization that one needs to come to first, that there are people out there who are better. And then I think, sorry, just quickly to close on this point, I think the final thing I'd like to say is that governance and respect for that governance system is very, very important.
And how do you manage internal conflicts within the organization?
So it is never about who said it. Okay, the weightage is not that Darshan as CEO said it, or Neer as sales and marketing director said it. The weightage is by merit. So for example, if our chief commercial officer says, look, Darshan, you are very, very keen on launching this product. I really don't think there's product market fit. We need to tweak the packaging. We need to tweak the price point. I mean, that is taken on merit. It is not that we just bulldoze our way and get our way. So I think you need to move to it is all about a performance culture. It is all about saying, okay, fine, can you have a process and a system internally that allows people to make suggestions, allows people to air their views without being reprimanded or without being looked at negatively. You know what I mean? Often we find ourselves in environments, and I have seen this in situations where we're dealing with external stakeholders, where if you say something, you're looked at negatively, right? It kind of goes one direction. That's the only way it's going, and I think we have to get away from that.
Okay, perfect. We will be back shortly after this. Of course, there are a few listener questions that have come in as well, which Darshan will be addressing. And you can send in your questions, 0758 123 444.
The hits you love.
Feel good vibes and great music. This is Radio 44. Your music, your life.
Even the other stations are listening.
Now, he's recognized as one of Kenya's top 40 under 40. Darshan Chandaria's commitment to mentorship as well, and his entrepreneurship is truly inspiring. And his expertise and insights are highly sought after, especially after we saw the role you played as a judge on the Kenyan version of Lion's Den. So Darshan, tell us about that as well, because people see you and then sort of it's lost. What happened after that as far as somebody's concerned when they appear on the show? You've invested in their business. So talk us through the journey of Lion's Den and how it works.
So it was a very interesting experience. First and foremost, I had to make a decision whether I wanted to be out there on national TV, be out there, as a public figure. But I can tell you, it was one of the most, interesting, one of the most dynamic experiences I've been through in my life. When you're put out there with a paper and a pen, you have no idea about the entrepreneur, their business, and you have to make a decision to invest or not invest within, I think, anywhere from 15 to a max of 30 minutes. It really puts a multitude of your skills to test immediately, right? So you're assessing the entrepreneur, the capability, you're looking at the potential of the business or the service, you are assessing valuation, and you're negotiating, all against 4 other very capable business people and entrepreneurs. I think you would have seen episodes where we all liked an entrepreneur and how we had to sell ourselves. So at that point the tables turn, and it's not about the entrepreneur on the other side, it's about you, right? And the entrepreneur is like, okay, who am I going to pick, right? I have all these amazing business people in front of me. So the other thing I'd like to say is, investing your own money wisely. I think a lot of people, there's a misconception that KCB were giving us the money. There was a perception of, was this just showbiz, and was it real investing? It absolutely was 100%. I can tell you, I personally invested in a number of those businesses, some of which went very well, some which didn't go well. Some where you hear something on air that, for example, the business is, has a sales turnover of 10 million, has a gross profit of 2 and a net profit of 1 million. But when you actually look at the numbers, it's not that, right? So I think it not only taught us a lot about the real world and investing, but it also taught the entrepreneurs that you must have your facts and figures correct. You cannot bluff, investors. An amazing experience, I think, all round. Would I do it again? Definitely.
Definitely. All right.
We've also got a question here from a listener who's saying, what do you do as Chandaria Industries to support small and medium-sized businesses?
That's a great question. Look, I think, SMEs are a very integral part of any economy, any country around the world. First and foremost, at Chandaria Industries, we have a policy about the percentage of procurement we do from SMEs, okay? We have helped a lot of SMEs along our journey grow with us. We have hand-holded them through the process of requirements, quality, price, scale. As a philosophy at the company, our philosophy is always we want to grow with our stakeholders, not just grow independent of our stakeholders. Okay. I have personally, and I continue to this day, to talk to a lot of our SME suppliers on concerns they have around how they can work with us. A lot of people feel like Chandaria Industries is this giant that it's very hard to get into, okay, to provide any product or service, and that's not true. For the ones that are working with us, they will definitely tell you that we've had an amazing journey with them. Aside from Chandaria Industries and personally, what are we doing, right? As you may know, I'm an investor. I'm a venture capital investor. I'm an investor in startups, and through the work I do at Chandaria Capital and personally, we've invested in a lot of these businesses that were very small. I mean, literally from idea stage, we've been able to take them to market. And I'm happy to just name a few that, I think the listeners would be able to recognize and associate with, right? Kitu Kali, the e-commerce fashion brand. We're now with, Paddle Kenya, which is a paddle tennis business that started out in Gigiri. We're expanding that. We're looking to, make that not only a national business, but take that beyond Kenya. African Originals, the gin and the cider. I mean, these are businesses. I mean, there's a whole host. I mean, I've invested through Chandaria Capital myself in over 40 businesses like that across Africa and the world. I just wanted to just name a few that people would be able to relate to.
Excellent. This is, of course, the Leadership Legends. Now, usually, okay. By the way, Mariam Mohammed would also like to say hello. She's got a question, but she says she appreciates for your kind motivation and support. That's lovely. Now, we will be taking a short break. Usually, we don't have conversations this long, but this is a very, very interesting conversation. So we will have to extend this, and the conversation will go on for a little longer. For now, going back into the music, then we shall be back with the Superbrands Leadership Legends.
The hits you love.
Feel good vibes and great music. This is Radio 44. Your music, your life.
Even the other stations are listening.
We're in conversation with Darshan Chandaria on the Superbrands Leadership Legends series of interviews. This is episode 1. Darshan, first of all, let's talk about Superbrands and how has it been beneficial for Chandaria Industries to be a super brand?
Superbrands has become, I would say, the gold standard in consumer brands. And I think what's important to understand there is they only go out there and reach out to brands who, through a very detailed consumer survey, are at the forefront of consumers' buying decisions, at the forefront of their thought processes. So brands that have really achieved market leadership, achieved very strong recognition. And I think for us at Chandaria Industries, not only for any of our brands like Velvix or Rosie or Nice and Soft or Tolix, it was for the entire company. That was a very, very strong statement to us to say that what we are doing at Chandaria Industries overall as a company, the company itself has become a brand, okay? And I think achieving super brand status for any brand, any company, is very powerful in their ability to further commit and further communicate their want, need to innovate and continue to provide products and services of a certain standard, okay, to consumers. And I think to consumers, it is a seal of quality, a seal of this is a brand I want to associate with. This is a brand I want to continue to buy, use. Look, I mean, as an example, recently we awarded Naver Supermarkets, okay? Naver Supermarkets is the biggest supermarket chain in the country. Okay, they were extremely excited to have this. I know they've been considering this for a few years. As a council member, I myself have been talking to a few businesses out there about the benefits of this, and I think they've seen the benefits, they've experienced the benefits through other brands, and now they're on board as well.
And Superbrands is it's not just Kenyan, it's an international thing, which a lot of people I think don't even know about.
Correct. It's actually an international brand seal, an international seal of quality recognition, and exactly as you said, it goes beyond the Kenyan borders, it goes beyond East Africa, and I think to achieve that status, your brand is world class. I think to put it in short.
I think it's a moment of pride for us over here because we are also Superbrand. Now, Darshan, let's try and tackle two of the questions that have come in. So one of them is from Mariam, and she was asking. Now, we did talk about how you handle challenges and misunderstandings, but interestingly, she's also asking how you handle competition in the industry.
Right. It's a very good question, right? Everybody talks about competition. Everybody's always saying, I need to look at and understand what my competitors are doing. Okay. We have a different philosophy. I think we go out there to say we want to create a product or service that is better suited to the consumer's need than anything out there, okay? And obviously in doing that and identifying what is best suited to your consumer, you have to look at what exists, okay? What I find is a very strong positive about competition is it always pushes you to do more and it pushes you to do better. In a world we have no competition, I think we would be very... Well, I think, yeah, exactly. We'd be more than that. Yeah. Exactly. And you're more complacent. There wouldn't be any drive and push. Today, I think there's very few, what I would say, monopolies that exist anywhere in the world. Very few sectors and businesses that have no competition. So I think it's good. It's healthy. It continues to drive not only your business, but you as an individual and your team to do more.
Excellent. We also got a question from Hina as well. And she asks, does Darshan mentor young 17-year-olds? Because she's got a son who's just finished year 11. And do you do that?
We absolutely do. So we have internships at Chandaria Industries and across our businesses. For example, we've got that an internship program now at Chandaria Capital. I mean, Chandaria Capital, which invests in startups and is a venture capital fund, very, very many people are very excited to understand and know more about what we're doing at Chandaria Capital. I personally mentor a number of people as well, and so do my team and the family members at Chandaria Industries. Right now, though, we have so many requests for 2024. We are really full, so I will try and see how we can address that mentorship request, but we do this actively.
Okay. All right. So we're taking a short break and we're coming back with some more questions for Darshan Chandaria. And I think we can proceed with some more questions for you, Darshan. So looking back on your career, what advice would you give to young entrepreneurs, CEOs who are just starting out? So what kind of advice would you give to these people, and what key lessons have you learned along the way?
It's a very interesting question, and I get this a lot. Look, I think the first thing I always say here is there is no shortcut to success. Okay, you have to be willing to make a lot of sacrifices. You have to be willing to forego a lot of what young people enjoy at a young age. Okay, that is a lot of time with friends, socializing, doing a lot of things that you enjoy. Okay, because you have to spend a lot more time on your personal development. You have to spend that time listening to people you look up to, listening to people who've been successful, reading, just looking at stuff online. Okay, I mean, I think this isn't talked about enough. I mean, today we're in the world of AI. I mean, you type anything in and you get pages of information. Okay, literally, if you say, okay, how do I calculate my net profit? How do I run my cash flow effectively? I mean, that's all out there today. I mean, it's in there by very successful people. And I think we're in such an amazing era of data information that people who are not spending time outside their normal work, outside their daily routine to develop themselves, read, understand, about what's going on around them, will get left behind at some point. I'm a strong believer of this. So I spent a lot of time doing this. networking is very important. Okay, the ability today to pick up the phone to anybody in the country, beyond the country and beyond the continent, and they will take your call because they take you as a serious person. You've built that relationship with them. They will pull in a favor for you. Is very important. That's the other thing I learned. Empowering people and getting the right people around you is, I will never say enough about this. I will never be able to, I think, really bring out the importance of this. We have been very fortunate, I think, in the way we've been brought up to respect others at whatever level of the organization they are. And we've been able to build such an amazing relationship with our teams across our businesses that they want to stay. I mean, if I just pick out some examples from, our companies, we have employees who have been with us for 30, 35 years. Their parents have been with us. I think we're now getting, I think next year we'll get into a phase where we'll have grandchildren, okay, of initial employees joining our business. And we love this because, we are third generation. We have third generation employees, the third generation professionals who are, willing to join the business because of the culture we've created. So I think that's been, really important to us. What would I do differently, if I would go back today? I think I would have spent a bit more time on understanding finance early on in my career. I'm a very strategy, sales, marketing driven person. And I think finance was something that I think I learned on the job more and more, but I would have liked some more academics behind it.
Now, there's an elephant in, I wouldn't say the room, it's actually in the entire country, the Finance Bill 2024.
Right.
So Kenyans are up in arms. We've seen what's been happening in our streets in the last 2-3 days.
Right.
And it's the youth at the forefront who are trying to make their voice heard. You are a young leader.
Yes.
According to you, do you think Kenya is still a good country to do business, to run a business in?
I have never doubted Kenya's ability from an investment perspective, okay? As an investor, we have invested in so many sectors. We've talked about them today. We continue to do that and expand our businesses. What I would like to say, and maybe just bringing a bit of a different perspective in here to the finance bill, like in business, we all want to grow our businesses astronomically as quickly as possible, okay? But we all know that sustainable businesses are the ones that are the most successful and test the test of time, right? And I think what we are seeing in the finance bill is, I think we all understand and realize that there is an issue in the country that needs to be addressed, and that relates to our debt, okay? And how we service that debt is very important. Now, I just think everybody around the table, all the stakeholders here, need to take a step back and say, okay, are we doing this in a sustainable way? We all understand that there's a change, and a radical change needs to happen. But if we tax too much too quickly, you will start making, as you to your question, you will start making those businesses that were sustainable and sustainably paying taxes over a period of time, maybe not, the ability to do that may not be there, right, for very much longer. You will find that those businesses might have to start shrinking operations. Shrinking operations means letting go of people. Letting go of people means less consumer demand. Businesses that shrink pay less tax. So it's a bit of a knock-on effect. And I think this is why people are up in arms, okay? We haven't seen radical tax changes to this magnitude ever, so it's new to everybody. Every country goes through what I would call a tax maturity life cycle, okay? And different taxes come in. I think we all just need to take a step back and say, okay, is this the right way? Is this the sustainable way? Because often when you go out and take too much from, where you're getting it from, it often doesn't come as you expect, right? So this is just the lesson, I really think.
Thank you, Neelam, for that wonderful question as well. All right, I think we can take a break and then
we can wrap up, but just as we're going to have a quick fire round.
Sure.
But in this segment, tell us briefly about a day in the life of Darshan.
Okay, so my day can be very dynamic, okay? I mean, today, for example, I was up at 6 a.m. to come here, okay? Other days I'm up earlier, other days I'm up later. One thing I've realized, and I think this goes back to my point about commitment and sacrifice, is you just never know what a day could bring. Okay, on Tuesday, for example, I had planned. On Tuesday, actually, I had plans in the evening that changed because a customer, from the region came to see us, so I had to go to dinner with them. But on Wednesday, as an example, I had made some plans to actually do something with my wife in the evening, and I got a call about the finance bill, and they wanted to meet private sector members, and I had to sort of, rush out at 9 o'clock in the evening, and I didn't come back till 1 in the morning, right? I mean, these are just things that you can never plan for. So I think I like to try and structure at least what I can, but the rest of it, really, to be honest. And
And now you have sleepless nights since you have a newborn.
Yes, exactly. So, the balance of work, commitments outside work, family. And I'm also now playing a role, in community service at the Oshawa community that started this year. So I try to hold off for as many years as I could, but we had a lot of push this year, and they came to talk to my dad. So, yeah, I mean, lots of things happen, and anybody who I think in my sort of position will tell you that life is structured. I'm not sure they're telling you the absolute truth, right? Yes.
All right, we're taking a short break, and when we're back, we're going to have that quick fire. Can't wait for that. 28 minutes to 10 a.m. Very, very good morning to you. Of course, we do have Darshan Chandaria in the studio with us on the Superbrands Leadership Legends episode 1. A lot of love from Rupal, who's saying that she's thoroughly enjoying the interview. All right, now, this is the fun stuff that we've been waiting for. Darshan, so we haven't sent you these questions, okay? So we want to have a quick fire round with you. We're going to ask you a couple of questions. Keep your answers to 2-3 words if possible, all right? So are you ready?
Sure.
Okay, so let the games begin. Question 1, Hermina, let's go.
If you could swap roles with any other CEO for a day, who would it be and why?
Wow. I actually don't think I would swap roles.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Experience or education? What's more important?
Experience.
Can money really buy happiness?
For a short while, not forever.
Okay. 3 things you carry with you every single day.
My mobile phone, a Velvex facial tissue. I don't carry a wallet, but I like to have my credit card in my pocket.
Okay.
What's the most unusual place where you've had a brilliant business idea?
In the washroom.
Rightful
It's
place.
everyone.
All right. In one sentence, what's the best advice you've ever received?
Don't underestimate the challenge ahead of you.
Lovely.
What's the first thing you do when you wake up?
Go to the bathroom without fail.
Okay. If you could have any superpower to help you run your company, what would it be?
To clone myself.
Perfect.
Your ideal retirement age?
Ooh, I've never thought about it. Retirement's never struck me.
So no. Okay. Your favorite way to unwind?
Spending time with my family, my wife and my son now for sure, priority 1. I do also enjoy watching documentaries, movies. I feel watching something is very soothing to me. It used to be reading, but now it's watching.
Excellent. Okay. Last question.
If you weren't a CEO, what would you be doing?
I would probably be a tech investor.
There you go. Darshan Chandaria, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta say, this was a phenomenal chat that we had.
It's been absolute pleasure having you. It's been very insightful. A lot of details that you shared with us, which we didn't know about. For example, in 2014, you applied to be CEO, and it was your application was rejected. This is things that people didn't know about.
Yeah.
So it's been so insightful. We've had a lot of interaction from our listeners sending in questions. We now know that Chandaria Industries does an internship and mentorship program. We know about where you've invested in small and medium-sized businesses. So thank you. It's been such a pleasure having you, and we look forward to welcoming you again soon to Radio 44.
Thank you very much. Just before I sign out, I just wanted to say there was a question on mentorship and
Yes.
how people could get some of my time. Look, I do this actively on my social media platforms, on LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. I'm always talking about my experiences, giving out business tips, life lessons. So please follow my pages and you'll definitely get to see more about what I'm doing.
Indeed.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Thank you, Darshan. Have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead.
Thank you.